Minasan, okaree nasai. Today, well, as I hinted last time, a very small, very feisty, very successful Seiyuu. And I cannot stress that enough. All three of those points. Aoi Yabusaki, better known as Aoi Yuki, born March 27th, 1992 in Chiba. Part of god-tier agency Aoni Production, and her music is on the Nippon Columbia label. So here is where I usually give her origins and why she wanted to become an actress, and then I talk about the career. But in this case, her origins is her career, as she debuted into the entertainment industry at the age of 4, appearing in various films and dramas. Shoutouts to her being in both Sentai series Ginga Man and Gal Ranger, which you may know as Power Rangers Lost Galaxy and Wild Force respectively. Also being in Kamen Rider 555. Or it's probably Go Go Go, because Go is how you say 5 in Japanese. From 1999 to 2002, she was a regular guest for a few different variety shows on Fuji TV. And then during her 5th grade is when she made her voice acting debut in 2003, voicing Sakura in Kino's Journey. In 2004, she had Marika in Ashiteruze Baby. In 2005, voicing Koto in Onagai My Melody. Over in 2006, she became affiliated with the theater company Central for a little while, and then starting high school in the following year, joining the agency known as Breath and officially adopting the stage name of Aoi Yuki. And I guess that would be the origins, and this is when the career section would fully begin, as in 2008 she got her first lead role, Murasaki in Kuranai, also having a role in Shikabane Hime. 2009 she switched agencies again to Profit, where she would stay for a very long time. Also, now is a good time to bring up that I won't be saying character names for every single series going forward, just the ones that I feel are important or popular, because she just has so many, and this video I feel will already be long enough. So in 2009 she had roles in Akiken and Nogizaka Haruka no Himitsu, then leads in Yume Iro Patessiere and Anyamaru Tantai Kirumizu. 2010 is her first really big year, first up graduating from high school, and then having roles in Dance in the Vampire Buns, The World God Only Knows, the horror show Shiki, and the young version of this lad in Da 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 Da, and what I would consider her first huge role, the lead character Iris in Pokemon Best Wishes. That's like the main Pokemon anime too. I've talked about girls having roles in spin-offs and games, but this is like the real deal here. At such a young age too, probably like 19 when it debuted. Also a little fun fact, Rina Hidaka, another popular Seiyuu, actually voices this character as well, in the web series Pokemon Generations. Back to Ao-chan though, in 2011 she had roles in Beelzebub, Yuru Yuri, Horizon in the Middle of Nowhere, Bento, and Persona 4 the animation. A lead of Victorique in Gossip, and then another huge role, even if she's a tiny cutie, voicing main character Madoka in Madoka Magica, a very influential show that has spawned many copycats over the years. This year also gave her her first award, winning Best Voice Actor in the new type Machi Asobi Anime Awards. In 2012, she took the next step in her career, debuting as a solo artist with the mini-album Petit. This being on the Flying Dog label, by the way, not the one she's currently with. Having characters in Dog Days, Inazuma 11, Joshiraku, Saki the Nationals, Daily Lives of High School Boys, 3 separate characters in Hyoka, though the second 2 were just one episode roles, then a lead of Hibiki in Symphogear, and her second award, the Best Lead Actress Award in the 6 Seiyuu Awards. Also having Diamond File, labeled as her first photo book, but I also want to mention Aoi's Treasure Box. I can't find a confirmed date, but she seems very young in these photos, so I was initially thinking maybe 2010 or even earlier. But with Diamant File being labeled as her first book, maybe this came out after. Then again, the way they number these is always whack. I actually found a site that lists Aoi's Treasure Box as releasing in 2013, so yeah. Let's move on to that year. In 2013, she didn't have many new roles, mostly second seasons, but a few new things included Blaze Blue Ultra Memory, Samurai Bride Girls, Gundam Build Fighters, and the younger sister of the main character in Snafu. With music, it included her second mini-album, Mariba. But also this year was when her and her very good friend Ayane Takatatsu formed the Seiyuu unit on the label 0A called Petit Milady, named after the fact that they are both very small, both under 5 feet. Since its debut up until 2019, they had 9 singles, 5 albums, and 1 best of, singing theme songs for Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, Invaders of the Rokujoma, World Break Aria, and Alice or Alice, just to name a few. 2019 includes some bangers, starting with If Her Flag Breaks, Buddy Complex, Soul Eater Not, the young version of this man in Free, Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, and then 2 more massive leads of Yuki in Sword Art Online and Deanne in 7 Deadly Sins. Which is hilarious because in the show, Deanne is a giant, and in real life, Aoi, well, is one of the smallest adults around. More on that in the fun facts. With her music, she had her first 2 proper singles, Bijomania, ending for the anime World Conquest, and Cupid Review, opening for If Her Flag Breaks. Final cool thing for this year was her graduating from Waseda University, of which now Toyama and Saori Hayami are also graduates of this prestigious school. 2015 was another big year, arguably the biggest, having roles in Arya the Scarlet Ammo AA, Detective Conan, Gangsta, Overlord, Seraph of the End, Roko Brave of the Six Flowers, Yokai Watch, World Break Arya, Tokyo Ghoul, Yamada-kun in the Seven Witches, and then Tatsumaki in One Punch Man, very fitting role for her. And I'm also going to mention another live-action role, Yurisen in Kamen Rider Ghost. Then her first full album, Ishmael, as well as her 3rd photo book, Sugary Fairy. That is a very active year for one lady. Also, I guess Petit Milady had their only photo book release this year as well, titled Bon Appetit. Get it? Like double get it? Because it's also French like their name and also has petite like their name and height. Just in case the joke went over your head. Anyway, let's move on to 2016, the year of the monkey and her personal Chinese zodiac. Her 3rd mini album, Tokowaka no Kuni. And with anime, it's yet another great year for her. Divine Gate, Endride, Tanaka-kun is Always Listless, debuting into Excel World, and then being in 2 absolutely amazing movies. Those being Your Name and A Silent Voice, 2 of my personal all-time favorites. As for big named characters, Kaio in Erased, and Sue in My Hero Academia, one of my personal favorite characters. In general, by the way, not just within that show. Continuing with my favorites, I would usually save this for the game section, but this is one of my favorite games and one of my favorite girls from that game, with Aoi-chan voicing Futaba in Persona 5. Oh, and reprising her Kamen Rider role in Dobutsu Sentai Zyuohger, which unfortunately does not have a Power Rangers counterpart. And next we have 2017, her first smaller year in a while, but still good shows, being in March Comes In Like a Lion, Fairy Tail's Dragon Cry movie, Akiba's Trip, and leads in Sakurada Reset, Aho Girl, My Girlfriend is Shobitch, and Kino's Journey, which if you remember was her very first show, but this is actually a remake I'm pretty sure, and she voices the titular character this time rather than a supporting character. But anyway, she had another titular character, another huge lead, of Tanya in Saga of Tanya the Evil. With music, she had her 3rd single release, Again Labyrinth, the opening for Shobitch. This being the first track on the label Nippon Columbia, which she is currently on to this day. But this year, it is also stated that she took a break from her singing activities, though as you will see, she still has new music basically every year going forward. So maybe it just meant she wouldn't have live shows for a while. But I mean, as you'll see in the concert section, she barely had live shows to begin with. So I don't know what's going on over there, but as for photo books, Supernova, which I personally have and is very good. That's like half my photo book collection behind this, by the way, and a Marvel poster. Anyway, this book has a bunch of outfits, one for each zodiac and even some other constellations. Really cool stuff. But now we have 2018 and we're back to a crazy amount of roles. But as always, I'm only going to mention the new stuff. In Piano Forest, Death March to a Parallel World, Radiant, Gridman, Wotakoi, Asobi Asobase, Karakuri Circus, The Narrator and Goblin Slayer, and the Episode 2 version of Pop Team Epic. Oh, and reprising her game role in the Persona 5 anime version. With music, she had her 4th single, Karubasho ga Aru to Iyo Koto, which is a mouthful for someone who does not speak Japanese, but this is the ending for Piano Forest. Almost forgot to mention another award, a radio award at the 4th Radio Awards for Best Sexy Radio, and this was for her Showbiz radio program. Apologies for saying radio and award so many times in 2 sentences. In 2019, her unit Petit Milady began their 5-year hiatus. Then with anime, a lot of second seasons, but new stuff in Boogie Pop Phantom, actually having 2 roles, also being in Grimm's Notes, 7 Seeds, Skilled Teaser Takagi, Violet Evergarden, reprising Tanya in the collab series Isekai Quartet, also being in Demon Slayer, and voicing Tamaki in Fire Force. with music, her second album Voice Sample, even writing lyrics for 4 of the tracks, which I do believe is her first time doing so. Then her 5th and most recent photo book, Ayakashi, which I also have. 2020 is her 5th single, Unbreakable, the opening for Infinite Dendrogram. Big shoutouts to the music video for this track where she just breaks stuff. The irony in that is awesome and I highly recommend you watch it. Anime include Infinite Dendrogram, Misfit at Demon Academy, Irregular at Magic High, Plunderer, Apare Ranman, Healing Good Precure, and Princess Connect. Oh, well, how could I forget also being in Rent-A-Girlfriend? Yikes. Like one of the most hated characters in a long time. 2021 is her 6th single, Gudafura Every Day, opening for I've Been Killing Slimes for 300 years. Her doing the lyrics for the coupling track, and will be her last music release for a few years. So maybe this is when she actually took the break, even though it was mentioned many years prior. With anime, well, she had a role in that Killing Slime show, as well as Fena Pirate Princess, Sunny Boy, I'm Standing on a Million Lives, and Azir Lane. A lead in So I'm a Spider, So What, and then reprising old roles Madoka in the spin-off Magia record, as well as Iris in the new season of Pokemon. 2022's anime for her was really just second seasons, but I can mention new roles in Uncle from Another World and Gundam Witch from Mercury. Funny that those titles are kind of similar. But she also had another fan favorite character, Lucy in Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Very nice. Then for a new career thing, when her agency Profit shut down, she was one of the few people who didn't transfer over to Raccoon Dog. Rather, she joined her current agency, Aoi Production. 2023, we've got Kamikatsu, Nier Automata, Undead Unluck, Spy Classroom, and The Apothecary Diaries. Debuting into Bleach 1000 Year Blood War, Urusei Yatsura, and Inspector. This was also the year that she restarted her music activities and made a Discord community called Yosei Yako. Last year of 2024, Petit Milady re-began their activities as a unit, even posting all of their music videos to a brand new YouTube channel. Shoutouts to the Super Mario inspired video, highly recommend that one. Then she had a new solo song, well, an EP, titled Yosei Yako, the same as her Discord. With anime, she had Ishura, Mission Yozakura Family, Sasaki and Peeps, The Elusive Samurai, and being in the new version of Ranma 1/2, but also debuting into ReZero. A whole lot of good shows, man. A whole lot. For this year, as you can see here, lots of stuff lined up, some already airing, like Season 2 of Ishura and The Apothecary Diaries. Later having more Madoka Magica, Tanya the Evil, Fire Force, Killing Slimes, and Rent-A-Girlfriend. So that's it for the main career. Let's move on to the extra stuff. Aoi being the star that she is, she doesn't really have any minor or unnamed stuff. Majority of her characters have names and at least a small amount of relevance. If there are one-episode characters, they were in super popular shows that I already mentioned, like Detective Conan. Her music credits in anime, aside from her solo career and Petite Milady stuff, include all of this, in order of release by the way, usually sang with other castmates, and most of these shows have multiple endings, so I specified which ones you can hear her in. There's also insert songs in Gundam Build Fighters and multiple Symphogear seasons, doing a few ending themes over there as well. Sticking with music, her solo lives and guest appearances at special events include, well, as I said earlier, not too much. Her very first solo show being in 2014 at Makuhari, which is in Chiba, her hometown, and that seems to be the only listed concert. With Petite Milady, they seem to have only had 2 shows in 2013 and 14. But with Symphogear Lives, she was at the shows in 2013, 16, and 18, looking really cool in these costumes. Also being at the Aniplex Fest in 2021, I assume more considering she's in a few shows produced by that company, but that's the only one that I can confirm. Then with the 2 big festivals, Animax and Anisama, not as much as other super popular girls, only being at Animax one time in 2013. As far as I can remember at least, I don't have her name in my notes anywhere other than that year, so yeah, that's kind of crazy. With Anisama being with Petite Milady in 2013, 14, 16, and 18. By herself performing in 2014 and 2018. And being in the music video for the 2014 version as well. And now saying all this out loud and really looking at the script, I'm realizing that she was only really musically active in 2013, 14, 16, and 18, for everything that I just mentioned. An odd coincidence, and I guess could have been saved for the fun facts, but I guess I'll just mention it now. Moving on to her video game roles, aside from Genshin and Persona, include a lot. Oh wait, I didn't even mention Genshin in the main career. I guess I'll mention it now. She is the main playable character in Genshin Impact. Lumine, I'm pretty sure her name is. I haven't actually played the game yet, so I may have been pronouncing it wrong. But aside from that in Persona, we have a lot. First off, if there's a game version of an anime series she's in, she reprised that role, like Sao, Madomagi, My Hero, Nier, and so on. Her first game role was actually tied to one of her anime, being in a PS2 Kino's Journey game back in 2002. Since then, being in Resident Evil Revelations 2, some Sonic Boom games, Phantasy Star Online 2, God Eater 2, Street Fighter V, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Honkai Impact 3rd, and a bunch of BlazBlue games. I will also point out her voicing Eevee in Pokemon Sword and Shield, as well as BDSP, and even reprising Futaba from Persona in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I already mentioned all of her live-action tokusatsu appearances, though she has some other minor stuff as you can see, something called Cafe Isobe, and even some Final Fantasy live-action series. Her foreign live-action dubs include these, being in the more recent Tomb Raider movie, Bumblebee, the Good Suicide Squad movie, Cosmo in the newer Guardians of the Galaxy movie and the Disney Plus special, and most recently being in the Sonic 3 movie. Foreign animated dubs includes More Sonic, the Spider-Verse films, Transformers Cyberverse, and Boss Baby. Next we have something new that I don't usually talk about with the girls, that being Aoi's involvement in some of her shows. Her being a very talented artist, she was actually the assistant key animator for Aho Girl's opening theme, the painting assistant for episodes 8 and 9 of the Nier anime. In episode 2 of Madoka Magica, Madoka has a drawing that Aoi-chan drew herself in real life. Then the same thing for her character Mei Mei's handwriting in Soul Eater Not, which I might not be able to find a picture of, but I will try. Last up, I did mention some of her anime awards, but here are some other ones listed from Wikipedia. The top two being the ones I already talked about. But also worth mentioning, Aoi was nominated for Best Japanese Voice with her role of Kumiko in The Spider Show at the 6th Crunchyroll Anime Awards. Ayane Sakura was also nominated here. Neither won though. Pretty sure this was the Attack on Titan year, so Yuki Kaji won, which ironically enough is Aoi's best friend, Taketatsu's husband. So now let's move on to some fun facts. Keep in mind she's been around for a while, so some of these facts may have changed over the years. First up, as always, that height, being 145 centimeters or 4'9", usually being referred to as the legal lolly. She is on both Twitter X and Instagram, though on Gram she only really posts photos of her Luxray plushie, and some other little critter that I am unfamiliar with. I guess that transitions into the first few facts as well. She loves the Pokemon Luxray, or Rentador in Japanese, and she just loves Pokemon in general, playing Silver version the most as a kid. Also really enjoying the Final Fantasy games. She also likes skiing and snowboarding, notes her special skills as reading out loud and tongue twisters, very fitting for a voice actor, but also anthropomorphization and animalization, which is very fitting of an artist. Sticking with this, she also enjoys writing books and drawing. As I said earlier, she is a very talented artist, having created several fan arts of anime that she has also acted in. She has even created her own original character project, called Chimera Project, in 2019 in hopes of getting her own anime adaptation. Not sure of how the story would be, but the art is great and her hypothetical voice cast is also great. Hope to see it animated one day. Now for the next batch of facts. Even though she is the voice of Madoka, in interviews she has shown a strong interest for Kyoko. There's even a cat in that show named Amy, based off of her real-life cat of the same name. One of her favorite musical groups is Bump of Chicken. Her favorite movie is Alice in Wonderland, but also loving Transformers and Gundam 00. When asked who her favorite historical figure or anime character is, she said somebody who would look good in a pilot suit, like the Gundam ones, saying someone like Lyle from 00. Her main fetish is the tip of the nose and just lips in general, and her main inspiration to become a Seiyuu was Miyuki Sawashiro, which is a fairly common answer for girls her age. Also saying she admires Sawashiro very much, naturally. Just like Rie Takahashi, Aoi-chan is a proud Shotokan, claiming most schoolgirls are, they just won't admit it, and they usually don't grow out of it. Also claiming it's not in a weird way. She just likes to admire the young pretty boys, as one would admire a flower. Also pretty common amongst children, she used to have imaginary friends and would get mad if someone sat where her friend was sitting. Also worth mentioning that she initially stopped her solo singing career because she felt that she had completed it, but I guess something inside of her decided she needed more. Also, as I said in the career section, she didn't really stop, so I don't really know what she means by this. The penultimate fact is that the anime tracking site MyAnimeList has a popularity tracking for all voice actors of any age, music people, artists, authors, all that good stuff. And out of everyone registered on the site, Aoi, originally when I checked the top 100, was at 21st. But a week ago when I checked again, she is now 19th. That is very, very impressive. Last thing to mention, in 2019, fans chose their favorite roles of hers. And I mean, that is a solid list right there. I was initially just going to show the top 10, but I had to include Futaba as well. I love her. I would assume the list is mostly the same to this day, but with her Apothecary Diaries character now being number 1. Also Lucy from Cyberpunk being pretty high up. And with that, we have reached the ending. Aoi really is amazing, one of the all-time greats. Strong honorable mention for my personal top 10, and I am always looking forward to seeing what she does in the future. I really do hope that story of hers becomes some sort of animation. Really do want to see her creation in its fullest. And yeah, let's end that there. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed and learned something new. If so, please do leave a like and maybe check out a different video of mine. But for sure, join me in the next one about the Nijigasaki Seiyuu activities outside of Love Live. I look forward to seeing you there.